Hey everyone, this is Mario again, coming at you with another movie review. Today's review is of a movie that I saw a couple days ago, and I haven't had a chance to record a review because I was busy all weekend, and the last couple days just haven't felt like recording the review. So finally getting to it. It's a movie I've been meaning to watch for a couple years now, and how do I put this? I would just kept putting it off watching it, and now I'm actually glad I watched it, and I wish I watched it sooner. I watched it via Netflix, so anyone who has Netflix out there, and if you want to check it out, I suggest you watch it through that. It, of course, is the Robert Rodriguez directed, Quentin Tarantino written movie starring George Clooney, From Dusk Till Dawn. And I'm proud to say that, for those of you who don't know, this movie does have a fan base. It has a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has a 7.2 on IMDb. And it's one of those movies that fans love, that critics did love. They didn't love it as much as us, but a 64% shows that at least 6 out of every 10 critics will enjoy it. And it's a film I had fun with. It definitely shows both of their styles. Granted, I haven't seen much of Rodriguez's adult directed stuff, but I can definitely see his style at work here. And it definitely has Quentin Tarantino's mark all over. You know, his love of all the genres, exploitation films, action films, stuff like that. The only difference, of course, it doesn't really have the non-linear storyline type thing he's normally known for, but that's not a problem with this, because this movie kind of would have been hard to follow with that. Now, the plot of the movie is that we got two brothers, Seth and Richie Gecko, played by Clooney, and of course, Tarantino. They are wanted by the FBI and the Texas police for a bank robbery that has left several people dead. They stop at a liquor store with the intent of picking up a map, but Richie, the younger brother, apparently is psychotic, and he kills a ranger and the cashier, and they burn the store down, which this is an interesting scene. It's the opening scene of the movie, and I love how it's set up. It looks like it's going to just be business as usual. Yeah, I'm going to get some alcohol, gotta use your bathroom. And it sets it up very good. Yeah, I think he sent him something. I didn't send him anything! And a little shootout. It's just a good scene. I don't really want to describe it in full, because it's a scene you gotta watch and love in order to fully appreciate. And I would probably bastardize any lines I'd probably try to say of it, because I don't have them memorized. Anyway, the Gecko brothers are heading towards Mexico, where apparently they have a contact who has arranged a safe house for them, along with something involved with their robbery. Along the way, they stop at a motel, and of course, they meet this family. We got Jacob, played by Harvey Keitel, you know, from Reservoir Dogs, who is a pastor who has a lack of faith and stuff, so he doesn't preach anymore. We have his daughter, Kate, played by Juliette Lewis, and his adopted son, Scott, played by Ernest Liu, I believe. Anyway, they figure out that an RV could probably take him across the border easier, so they kidnap him. And of course, for the next part of the movie, you know, it's them talking back and forth a little bit. And of course, it's interesting conversation stuff. And one thing I'll say about the character of Richie is he is a rapist, and you can tell this throughout the whole movie. And it kind of makes him it goes with his unstableness. You're like, is he gonna do something? And another acting thing I have to point out is that Cheech Marin plays 3 different characters in this movie, which is kind of funny. He plays a border patrol agent. He plays one of the guys in the bar, and then of course he plays the guy that that the brothers are trying to go meet, which I thought was a funny thing. It's like, you can't get enough of Cheech Marin. My favorite character, of course, is the one in the bar, but mostly because of his introduction, you know, talking about all the stuff the bar has. Those of you who've seen the movie know what I'm talking about. I couldn't help but smile at that. It's Cheech Marin saying it in his over-the-top Spanish accent. You gotta love it. Anyway, eventually, they get into Mexico, and they come to this bar, which I'm trying to see if I can get the name of. Okay, it's called Titty Twister, which I'm not going to say a lot, but that has something to do with what Cheech Marin says. Anyway, inside, the brothers, you know, partying a little bit. They watch a stripper, and eventually they find out that the bar is run by vampires. And so the rest of the night, the people in the RV, along with some patrons in the bar, have to survive inside the bar until sunlight. And of course, one thing that I like is that one of the patrons at the bar, a biker named Sex Machine, is played by the one and only Tom Savini. Which, that was a nice little thing. The moment I saw him, I'm like, Tom Savini in a vampire movie, I gotta love it. And I want to look it up, but I don't know if he had any hands in the makeup effects. Doesn't say anything on here about it, so if you guys know if he had a hand in the makeup effects, let me know, because the practical effects in this movie, I give him a hand. There's like some CGI, but it's only for like bats when they're flying all around. But the practical vampire effects, the makeup effects, another example of how practical effects are superior to CGI in every way. And it's why I miss them. Sorry, so something stuck in my teeth there for a second. Now, I'm not going to give away much about the ending of the movie, but I do like the twists, how they reference vampire lore, some of the minor changes I don't mind for a one-shot movie. And also how some of it actually makes the situation a lot more tense, like the thing involving Tom Savini's character. And then, of course, even giving the pastor characters, him having to rediscover his faith to survive. And then, of course, the last little thing at the end of the movie I liked. I'm like, yeah, that's a nice way to end the movie. Acting, George Clooney, he's great as Seth Gecko, and outside of ER, this is probably his breakout movie role, because I know he was in that unfinished movie Grizzly 2 that also had Charlie Sheen in it. And of course, he was also in the only other movie and note I can think of he was in before this was probably Return of the Killer Tomatoes, which I do want to see. Which, of course, I already know I'm going to love that movie because it's just that product placement scene. How about a crest? George Clooney, you gotta love him for that. But after this is where he started getting more movie roles, like, you know, the infamous Batman and Robin, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, etc. There's pages I could go on. Quentin Tarantino, I loved him as Richie Gecko, and so far this is my favorite role of his. And the sad thing I have to say is that the Razzie Awards nominated him for Worst Supporting Actress, but like I've said before, yeah, they could sit and twirl on it. Because Quentin Tarantino, while he's probably not a trained actor, he is seems to be a student of it just from watching acting, so he did a pretty good job as Richie. I thought he was good. Harvey Keitel, or Keitel, excuse me. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. I'm just going to go with Keitel, because it's Keitel. That sounds like Keitel to me. As the preacher character Jacob, he did a pretty good job of showing that the character, while still believing in God, is, you know, questioning his faith and stuff. And hold that thought while I go and tell my dog to shut up. Okay, where was I before the dingo? Oh yeah, Keitel. As I was saying, he did a beautiful job of capturing the character of Jacob's, you know, his lack of faith, him trying to reconcile his faith while at the same time now having to raise, well, not really raise them anymore, they're adults, almost, you know, take care of his children, at least financially, now that he's just by himself, while at the same time trying to rediscover his faith and save their lives. Even Seth's life, they don't even like each other, they get into a little conflict. I mean, at one point in the movie, he punches Seth in the face because he brings up his wife's passing, which I have to say is completely justified, but I know I can understand why the character of Seth did it. And I actually do like the way that Keitel vocally, the voice he gives his character, worked. Now, before I get too far off, Clooney made the character of Seth just the right amount of dick to where you're like, okay, this guy's definitely a bad guy, while at the same time he came across as likable and like trying to control his brother, and you can tell he doesn't really want to hurt people. Like when his brother hurts people, he's like, what are you doing? You can tell that he doesn't really want to hurt people, and that if people got hurt along the way, more than likely it's probably his brother's doing, while he just wants to, you know, get some easy money. He doesn't want people to get hurt in the process. So I guess you could say kind of a gentleman thief. I guess, you know, kind of like like in the vein of Dillinger. Not that Dillinger was a gentleman, I'm just trying to say. Juliette Lewis and Ernest Liu as Jacob's kids did pretty good jobs. Salma Hayek as one of the vampire strippers, I thought she did a pretty good job. Nice to look at, especially in that scene. Cheech Marin in his 3 roles, like I said, excellent as the border guard. Adds a little pervertedness to it and does a good job as Carlos. Like him, nice little thing at the end. And of course as the guy who works at the bar, my favorite of the 3 roles. Tom Savini as Sex Machine. You buy him as a biker, like with his pants gun, and then of course the fights he's in the bar during the vampire attack, and then even afterwards, you do buy him. And then of course Fred Williamson as Frost, the Vietnam veteran. You buy him as that. You can see he's been through hell, and this is just another chapter in that. And of course all the minor characters like Michael Parks as Texas Ranger McGraw. He did a pretty good job. You buy him as a ranger. He's not no Chuck Norris, obviously, but you buy him as a ranger. Him and Chuck Norris would be a pretty good fight, though. Yeah, trying to say, I'll outranger you. No, I'll outranger you. No, I'll outrange you. Did your cobra die by biting you? No, I rest my case. It'd be like, something like that. Now, Wikipedia gives two different things here, but no, never mind. Excuse me. The budget apparently was $20 million. It only made a little over that, and I don't know how much it was advertised. So I guess you could say more or less the film made even, which is sad. This movie should have at least made, I'd say, about $40 million, but it's probably made money on VHS and DVD, which is a good thing. It made him some money. I mean, there's two sequels, which I hear are kind of crap, but I'll give them a shot one day. From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, which is a sequel and a prequel from Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter. I'll give them a chance one day, and I hear they were thinking at least a couple years ago making a fourth one. I don't know if that's dead in the water or not, but I don't know. Here's an interesting thing: is that this movie actually had some labor issues. Because usually, if you have more than $15 million, you hire a union crew, but this movie had a non-union crew. And Rodriguez and Tarantino defended this, saying it was because they wanted a more team-like atmosphere on the set instead of people having to stick to their certified jobs. Which I could see why they would want that. I mean, it's like, yeah, you do this, yeah, I'll do it. Yet, of course, some people went against them and tried to get the film fined or something, but I don't know if it worked or not, but it's featured on one of the DVD features, which I actually want to find out more about that. If you know more about that, let me know. There's also apparently a video game that takes place after the movie, which I'm gonna check out. I'm just gonna take a look at it again. Let's see, what is it? Oh, it's a computer game. So here's the plot of the video game. Seth Gecko, one of the two survivors from Dusk Till Dawn, has been condemned to death for the murders at the titty bar. He is now an inmate of a fictional security place, which is a tanker off the coast of New Orleans, and vampires have infiltrated it, and that's basically it. Sounds like it'd be a game that it'd be kind of fun to play at least once. Never know. Maybe one day if I could find an emulator for it. And of course, the movie has an excellent soundtrack. I mean, it has that song that plays at the beginning and the end that you guys know I used for that one Night of the Living Dead tribute. It's a dark night by the Blasters. I just love that song. Like a wild oak tree. Don't these things that matter anymore. I just love that song. Dark night. And there's a couple other songs, of course, I want to look into, like She's Just Killing Me by ZZ Top, and that one called Angry Cockroaches. A couple other ones, but Dark Knight's my favorite song on the soundtrack. And I don't know if it was written specifically for the film or they just offered for it. If it was written for the film, I'm surprised it didn't get any award nominations, because this movie did get some nominations and wins. Like I mentioned, Tarantino got the Razzie Award nomination, which I think is stupid. It won both the MTV Movie Award and the Saturn Award for George Clooney. One for Best Breakout Performance, the other for Best Actor, which I have to say well deserved. It also won Best Horror Film at the Saturn Awards, and it was nominated for Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Harvey Keitel, and Best Supporting Actress for Juliette Lewis. Well deserved. I'm surprised he didn't get any Oscar nominations. I think it should have at least gotten one of the technical ones. It was worthy of that, I think, at least. But it makes me want to watch more of Rodriguez and Tarantino stuff. Like, you guys know, not long ago, I did, like the last review I uploaded was Reservoir Dogs. And of course, I still want to look into more of Rodriguez's work, because other than this, the only one other of his movies that he's directed that I've seen are his Spy Kids movies, and of course Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which I think are okay family movies. Well, let's see, and of course Machete, which I do gotta give another watch, see what my current thoughts on it are. And of course the Tarantino, the only other ones I've seen are the Kill Bill movies, and part of Death Proof and Inglourious Bastards. But before Django Unchained comes out, I do want to give some of them a watch, so I can more or less know what to expect from that movie. Anyway, my rating from Dusk Till Dawn is 5 out of 5 because I can't really think of anything wrong with the movie. I think the pace, it flows at an excellent pace. The effects in the movie are great. The acting is great. The musical score by Graham Revel I thought fit the movie pretty well. And like I said, I like the non-score music. Rodriguez's direction is spot on. And the character development and writing I thought was spot on as well. And as you can tell, I highly recommend you give it a watch if you haven't.